going on, everybody? Welcome to this edition of Turnaround Marriage Live. We are Scott and Rachel, and we help committed, awesome Christian couples turn conflict, negativity, and disconnection into love, passion, and playfulness for the glory of God. And so today we want to talk about how nothing can change unless this one thing can change first. And so what we want to talk about is diving into what we are thinking about. I know we talk about this a lot on this channel, and guys, we're here to say what you think about really does matter. Right? And so, I love to use this analogy. We use this analogy with our clients a lot because here's the thing. If we think something's impossible, we are not even going to attempt it, right? We won't even try. And I love the story of Roger Bannister because for millennia, it was believed that it was actually impossible for the human body to run a 4-minute mile. The scientists said, if you do it, your heart will explode. Everyday people said there's just no way. No one can run that fast. The human body is incapable of doing it until Roger Bannister proved them wrong in 1954. Yep. And what was so beautiful about what Roger did is he visualized and he practiced, and he not only rehearsed and trained his body, but he trained his mind. He visualized himself crossing the tape, the finish line with the time saying, 3 minutes, 59 seconds, or whatever it was. He rehearsed that in his mind's eye over and over and over again. And guess what? The year that he did it, suddenly everyone's head was spinning and they were saying, it's not impossible. Your heart's not going to explode. Your legs aren't going to fall off. And so guess what? 37 people did it that year. And the next year, over 300 people. And now we see this is a regular thing with the ultra marathoners and with the elite athletes. That's not us, but it's just a beautiful picture of like what is possible when you believe something is possible. And how does this relate to our marriage, right? Yeah. Let's talk about that.
That's so true because I'm almost 50 and I just ran playing basketball a few days ago with my kids and I'm aching still, right? Yeah. So guys, yes, what we're talking about here is what we're thinking about. So often people come to us and they say it's the communication problems or the financial problems or COVID, or we fight about little things. And it might be that you're lacking communication tools. It might mean that you don't know how to overcome the disconnect between the two of you. It might be very true, but here is the fact of the matter. If you are showing up, none of these things can truly deeply change unless you're showing up with the belief that it can. That's what we're saying.
100%.
Yes. So if you're missing tools, you might have state of the art, the best tools in the world given to you for communication between the two of you, which by the way is way better than passing the stick back and forth, so to speak. Mm-hmm. Even if you have the best tools, it's not going to matter very much if you're showing up believing, this thing is just hopeless. And who talks about this? Like you go to your pastor, you go to your counselor, you talk to a friend. They're not going to say to you, you're not thinking about this correctly. Usually they're not going to hit that off on the front end. That's why we're doing this today. So you're not going to, if you're thinking that this thing is just too far gone, it's been like this way too long. Well, if you believe that it's too far gone, it probably is. Or if you believe this is going to take like 3 lifetimes to fix this, well, it probably is going to. If your belief is that this is not fair, well, you're going to keep living with that belief just the same.
Yeah. Or some people think, well, I just need to work on me first. I have my own issues. I need to work on me. And they push the marriage to the side. And so the marriage continues to suffer while they work on themselves, right? Or they might say, he'll never change. If they believe that, it's very unlikely that he will, because they're going to continue treating him the way they've been treating him. They're going to stay in the same rut. They're going to stay in the same pattern that they've been in. Or we're just too different. We're just two different people and we'll just never get along. How many people have told us that? And guess what? When they work with us and we show them that that's exactly the reason why they're beautifully created for each other, everything changes. It's how they think about the thing, right? Or I can't change. This is just how I am. If you believe that staunchly and you believe that you are impossible to change, you're probably right. Or I married the wrong person is the most heartbreaking one that we hear. Because if they truly believe that and someone has told that to them and they've repeated that to themselves hundreds of thousands of times over the course of their 20-year marriage, and if they constantly believe Yep, there he goes again, disappointing me. I
Yep.
just married the wrong guy. If only I had married so-and-so from high
Or
school.
Mr. Right. Like I picked the wrong guy.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And, I was on a call the other day with a heartbreaking situation. It was just like, it's never been good. In all these decades, it hasn't ever been good. And if you believe that, and if you're discounting and not remembering the sweet moments, if you're ruminating on all of the challenges, all the problems, and focus there and believing things will never change, it's too hard, it's not fair, it's his fault, he needs to change first, I got to work on me, any of those things will absolutely keep you stuck. Even if someone laid out the plan for you, here's how you can turn your marriage around, you're not going to take their hand. You know why? Because you don't believe it's even possible.
Yeah.
So in the very first thing, in order to change your marriage, in order to create the change in the home, in the heart, in your mind, in your closeness that you want, is you have to believe that it's possible.
Yeah.
That is the absolute first step.
It is. You're so right. And for us, it was like, best way to put it, for you felt like it's up to me. Like, you've got to fix it. I'm the problem in some ways, and you've got to fix it.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. And I really felt like when we were stuck, it was like, we deserved this. Like, we have just not been faithful enough. And, it was that kind of sad to admit it now, but that's really where we were. We believed that we were where we were. You thought it was me. I thought it was you, and both of us. And we were in that place because of God. And we would go to like read a book. And I was like, oh, that's kind of helpful. I guess we'll kind of try it. It didn't really work for us. Or we do a retreat. And it was like, yeah, there's some good info. And we had like a couple of nice hours and a few nice days. And then it was like, we just went right back. Or we tried the counseling route. And it was like, well, he's got some great things, but we would need to like be here every day for there to be anything different anyways. Like, like that's just not reality. Like, there was something about us that we were just stuck. And the fundamental belief behind everything, and this is the heart of what we're trying to say here today, is it doesn't matter what you understand. You can have all the answers. You could clearly understand what the Bible says about marriage. You can have the tools in place. But if you have this incorrect, you're thinking about what is the status of where you're at, as well as what could be, it's never, ever, ever, ever truly going to change. And that is what's so powerful about having transformational coaching. That's what's so powerful about having other people believe in you. That's what's so powerful about having other people come alongside you, encourage you, and say, it doesn't have to be this way. In fact, it can be this way, and help you with a strategy to get from A to B, with there being a little bit of transformation every bit of the way. So you can say, look what's happened. Look how much has changed. Look how much progress you guys are making. And getting that encouragement, it's like, oh my goodness, there's hope again. There's hope for things being totally different. And that is one of the funnest things, is when people do enroll with us, they'll say thank you, because there's hope again. Hope again. It's super powerful. And if you do not have hope, where does it magically appear from? No one visit to the counselor, no one book, no one prayer, no one talk with a friend is going to give you that hope. And hope makes all the difference, doesn't it?
Yeah, it absolutely does. And when we experienced transformational coaching for ourselves, and then when we became trained as expert transformational coaches, everything changes. It affects every area of your life, because if you can think differently about problems, you can think differently about challenges, you can think differently about obstacles in your way, there are opportunities. If you can change how you approach the situation, it helps you change how you feel. It helps you change how you respond. It helps you change how you're showing up. There's such power in transformational coaching. And so that's the beautiful part of what we do, with, of course, the biblical foundation laid. And even when we were developing our process of like, God was calling us, we knew he was calling us to help Christians. We knew when Scott was pastoring, couple after couple after couple were streaming in his office with massive, massive problems. And we were ill-equipped to really help them fully. We just be nice to each other, like, but until we really got the training that we've gotten, and the help that we've gotten to be able to now pour into others, we had no idea what to do. And by God's grace, many marriages were safe. But the thing is that when we knew God was calling us to create turnaround marriage and to be able to walk closely with couples in their most darkest of times, we had to build the belief that it was possible to turn a marriage around in a matter of weeks instead of months or years.
Mhm.
And when we built the belief, we actually were surprised to find out we can. And it's
Mhm.
not this quick fix and it's not this thing, but here's the thing. If you believe, oh, it's a quick fix, or, oh, I can't do a quick fix, or this will take so long. If you believe those things, guys, you're going to stay stuck. You're going to stay in pain. You're going to stay in inaction.
Yeah.
And so you've got to create the belief, I can change.
Right.
This is possible. We can do this.
Hmm.
By God's grace, you are the right person. God sovereignly put us together. We can work this out, right?
Yeah, it's so true. And didn't someone just say that basically the other day, that they had been working on themselves for years and they needed to finish that process in order to work on the marriage? Like, first of all, this is a discussion for another day. If you're a Christian, you are one flesh, and you need to work on yourself and the marriage at the exact same time. That goes without saying. But if your belief is, I've got to do this process of working on me, how long is that going to take? You've been at it for almost 3 years. Does it need 5? Do you need 6? Then you can. It's like this idea, this belief that we have to stay here for years and years and years. And it's like this. If you're a Christian, what does God say? Yes, you're destined for your marriage to suck for 5 years, for 10 years. Does it have to be that? Just because everybody else in the world, even though you're not of the world and you are not part of them and you do not belong to the enemy and you do not belong in this world and this world is not your home, does that mean you're destined to be just like everybody else, or no? No. The answer is no for God's people. And here's the thing. The reality is we knew the answers. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I was teaching the answers.
Yeah.
I was preaching them. And there was people in my office. It was like, well, guys, the Bible says this. But why couldn't I get them unstuck? Why? Sometimes we could, but a lot of times it was like trying to beat your head up against the wall, trying to get people to move. Because here's the fact of the matter: they were so stuck, so ingrained in their habits and the vicious cycles, and it had been so long that it didn't matter what the Bible said. It didn't matter what they knew to be true, because they couldn't get there because it didn't apply to them, because their belief was that they were destined to be stuck.
Mm-hmm.
And if your belief is that, it doesn't matter what truths you have, because the truth that's bigger than anything else is your belief that you're destined to stay there. And that leads the way. And so that is what's so powerful, when you can have other people believe in the Lord and you more powerfully than you can, how things can be very different.
Mm-hmm. And that's what happens on a breakthrough call too. That very first step of believing that change is possible, believing that things could be better, as we start to help you not only uncover and get clarity about what's broken in the marriage, what's dysfunctional, what are the problems, but then we shift over to, what is it that you want? What have you been praying and begging God for in your marriage? And I hope it's not just change my husband, change my spouse, right? I hope it's, God, help us to have a marriage that honors you. But when we can start to create, what would that look like? What would a marriage where there's laughter again, where I'm not walking on eggshells anymore, where I actually like sleeping next to you and I don't feel like I'm a million miles away anymore, where I wake up not with that pit in my stomach about the fight we had last night. Instead, I wake up like ready to get you coffee and excited about the day together. Like, when you can begin to see what's possible and believe that that's possible even for you, everything can change. And so we want to encourage you to book a breakthrough call with us. If you're sick and tired of staying where you're at, sick and tired of believing it's too hard, it's not fair, it'll take too long, book that call, turnaroundmarriage.com/call. We're going to get on the phone with you. It'll be the best 45 minutes you could spend investing in your marriage and beginning to believe things can change, beginning to believe a turnaround in your marriage in a shorter amount of time is possible. Because here's the thing, we know a marriage can't be fixed overnight, right? Those problems didn't develop overnight. They developed over decades. But what we do know is the decision that things will be different can happen in a moment. And we also know the trajectory of where you're headed and the patterns you're in can change in a matter of weeks. And we're here to prove it. And so we're going to be doing an incredible interview Thursday night with a powerhouse couple. Can't wait to introduce you to Colin and Megan, who have done exactly that. And so, but if you're interested in getting that for you, we want to encourage you again, book that call at turnaroundmarriage.com/call. Let's begin to think things can change. Hope is possible even for us. And we'll see you there.
not only can things change, but they must change, right?
Yes.
And if you've been stuck for a long time, just because that's been the story does not mean it needs to be the future. We're here to tell you. So yes, book that call, and you guys have a great, blessed day. God bless.